For my first strategy, I have supporting English vocabulary and structure acquisition. Supporting students' language vocabulary in the classroom is very important. As a teacher, we must identify and pay close attention to how our students are speaking in the language that they are using. Another important attribute to this strategy is helping students present opinions, stating comparisons, and summarizing information based on a topic. Students being able to achieve these things will allow them to learn rapidly and achieve higher levels of language proficiency skills. In order for your students to be able to do these things, the teacher must model it for the students. The teacher can do this by reading them a story and summarizing what they just read, and also the teacher can compare things frequently no matter what subject that they are teaching. So it doesn't matter if the teacher is teaching math, science, history, the teacher can always model the usage of being able to compare different things. For example, maybe if they're talking about history, maybe the teacher can model comparing one historical figure compared to a different one. It's important that the teacher models this in a very early stage so that the students will have an idea of what these things are by the time the teacher is ready to assess these skills with the students and the teacher is ready for them to learn how to use them. It will help the students have their foot in the door of a little bit on how to do it, and it's not just blindsiding them. Supporting students' language vocabulary is also crucial. The teacher must observe and note language errors that are made by students. For example, if the teacher notices that many of her students are leaving off the sound ed at the end of words, then the teacher must address this problem with an activity that emphasizes on words that end in ed. When coming up with an activity, the teacher must gather materials and visuals for a hands-on and engaging activity in order for the students to achieve this goal at their highest ability. It's very important that the teacher makes the activity fun and makes the students want to be able to learn how to do it. The teacher should also be modeling this for the students. For example, the teacher could use words that do end in the sound ed, and whenever the teacher does say that word, emphasizing the ed part will also help the students grasp this concept as well. As well as the teacher modeling it, it's also important for the teacher to give the students an opportunity for them to model it as well. And by the teacher allowing students to do this, it's giving the students the confidence in saying words that are ending in ed. By the end of the lesson, the teacher should also always practice for mastery so that she can assess that if the students have mastered the focus of the language, or if she needs to do another activity on the area that's needed improvement on. My second strategy is predictable routines and signals. When having your own classroom, it's important to create a positive and structured learning environment to reduce the anxiety of your English language learners. Students that are English language learners often have trouble understanding everything the teacher is saying, which then leads to confusion, and then the students feel confused most of the time, which is not good for their self-esteem. By having a set routine, pattern, and signals helps the students relax and not worry as much in the classroom. This allows students to know what is going to happen next and reduces anxiety levels. The teacher can achieve this by having a set schedule for students. So, for example, having the students come in every day, get their breakfast, and knowing that this time is time for them to eat breakfast and watch the announcements. So then after the announcements, it's math time and so on. So also having a designated place for students to put their lunch count in, or a designated place for them to turn in their homework, while it's important to implement these routines, it's also important to model them and establish the clarity for the students. And as the teacher, you also must stay true to these routines in order for them to help your students tremendously. Hand signals are crucial also to use because it helps students to redirect and to know when changes are coming. Going off of the usage of hand signals, the teacher must contextualize directions as well. So, for example, if this teacher is saying, you guys need to, when cutting this out, I want you guys to cut around the dotted line. The teacher needs to be up in front of the class and actually modeling this for them, showing them how to cut along those lines, the dotted lines. Lastly, as the school year goes on, the teacher must evaluate her routines and procedures that go on day by day in the classroom. So if a routine isn't really working out the way that the teacher thought it would, it's appropriate to go ahead and change that routine for it to go more smoothly. It's okay to recognize these things and change them because not everything goes as planned whenever working with young students. So thank you.